ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Decluttered, the Candid Traders podcast. Today, I'm super excited to have Pawan with us, also known as Logical Trader on Twitter. For his privacy's sake, he will not be turning on his camera because he works and has a full-time job as well. So today, we're going to also learn how to balance that. It's super exciting because it's a huge contrast to the guest that we had the last episode, wherein Pawan is completely systematic in his trading and he manages to balance a career along with his trading activity. And he also does option buying as well as selling. So it removes that myth of which one is better as well. So that is addressed here as well. Super excited to have you with us, Pawan. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thanks, Shreyas.
Yes.
Thanks for
welcome, Pawan. Welcome, Pawan. Super excited to have this conversation with you. And first of all, I would like to say that the kind of response that we got for the previous episode, where we had this discussion with Shiva, it's quite encouraging, right? I mean, we have this thinking that the stereotyping that most people watch the YouTube videos, especially on trading, only for this jackpot strategy or one to double, which generates like 100% returns within a week or something like that. But the kind of response that we got, it reassures us that we do have an audience who actually strive to learn this game on a serious note, who want to take this game on a as a career basically. So that's kind of assuring, and we look forward to this community growing bigger and stronger with this. And we have today Pawan, who calls himself Logical Trader, who's a system-based trader, who's an algorithmic trader. He's a software engineer. He has a full-time job. And I'm pretty pumped to have this conversation with you, Pawan. Welcome.
Thanks, Praful. Thanks for having me.
Okay, to start off, Pawan, could you just give us your background and how you entered into the world of trading, what got you started, and what's your journey so far?
Yeah, so basically journey for me starts like many of my engineer friends, like when we see somehow by some social media, we see, okay, these markets, if you enter, you can make money. And when I was working in my last company, not the current company, there were many commodity traders in that company who used to, like, after 6 o'clock in the evening, they used to trade this crude oil and natural gas and all these zinc, copper, aluminum, all these commodities. And one trader out of them used to make really good money. I mean, I would say now when I see him, he was kind of gambling, I would say. But I don't know, like he says, I don't have any rule. I just enter, exit. And what I realize is it's so easy, then maybe let me try it. So it obviously started with a greed. And
Which year was this, Pawan?
Yeah, so this was 2018 December. So you can say 2019 start.
Okay.
That's the time when I opened my Zerodha account with commodities and futures and option activated. And it was sheerly out of greed to make extra money, I would say. I mean, if it is so easy, then why not do it? And that's how it started. And like it happens with anybody, right? When you start, your market starts giving you some gain. So I was randomly trading and started making some money. And the good thing is that I was quite risk averse to start with. And I mean, I valued money. It was my hard-earned money, which I have done. So there is no story like made big loss or anything. But yeah, I was losing money. It was 1K, 2K, like that, never a big loss. But mentally, you understand, right, that if you are successful in all the other avenues of your life, when you are losing day in, day out, it just pains you that what the hell is happening. And
not
why
the
I'm not
quantum of money, but just the fact that
it's just
also,
mentally.
if you don't mind, what did you trade, Pawan? Like, were you trading equities?
I was trading crude. No, I was trading commodities.
Crude. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Crude and natural gas, and it was mostly based on. See, I remember there was some kind of data release which used to happen, inventory data or something. So I just used to buy. Look at investing.com. Everyone was saying buy, so I will buy. And then they sell, so I will sell. I mean, nothing. I had no knowledge. Just I learned to place orders, and that's pretty much it.
No, I know what you mean. The sentiment meter used to come. No, I don't know if they still have it. Investing.com sentiment. How many are buying? How many are selling?
They have it even now.
They have it even now. And there are a lot of live comments, just like when you are on YouTube. If you are doing a YouTube live, people can comment, right? And a live chat goes on. Similarly, on investing.com, you see a lot of recent comments coming, and I was just used to follow those comments and enter, to be honest. And
Excellent.
I
very
think Shreyas
quickly,
commodity space is something which we never explored, right? I mean, I
don't
haven't. Have
explore,
you?
man.
No, I haven't either, Praful.
I
No.
haven't. So,
Yes.
so the thing is that, as I told you, right, because of my risk awareness, never lost much money, but mentally I was exhausted after a few months because randomly I was losing, making. I was like, what is happening? This is not working out actually. So that realization of things not working out came very quickly to me, and that's how the journey started. I mean, and I told it to few of my friends. I think there is something I can really like. My wife has a really big role to play in my trading success because now you won't see, but what I realize is just like when we study, right? So, what is the best way to learn something is to teach it to others. So I come from that school
Absolutely.
of thought that, hey, if I read something, then I will teach it to others and I will learn. But I never realized that trading is the I mean, it is very different than all the other things, how things works in learning physics, chemistry, mathematics, or computer programming or anything. This is very different. So what I did is I started a YouTube channel and I started sharing few videos without me making even a single rupee in the market. And I never uploaded
Wonderful.
them. I mean, I actually uploaded them, but never released them. And I showed it to my wife. And she's like, man, go and make some money first. What are you doing? How can you teach trading to others without making anything? And the honest feedback on the face helped me a lot to realize, hey, yeah, I have to do something if I want to grow in that space. And I would say June 2019, if I remember correctly, is when I did a system trading workshop. So, how did I land into that workshop? And that can be also a lesson to many of people who are listening to this is, see, if you are smart enough, right, you can figure out who are genuine traders or not. And there are many ways to filter it out. And I'll tell you a very simple way how I filtered out, and it turned out to be true. So what I realize is out of all the people who are publishing interviews for traders, I know that Zerodha interview are the most legit because
Yes.
Nitin Kamath also has the access to their data and he only interviews people who have been making money in their Zerodha account, right? So, I mean, there can be hundreds of honest traders, but how can I guarantee somebody is making money is I started reaching out to people whose interview was taken by that Zerodha 60-day challenge winner during 2013, 14 and that time onwards. So there were two people. One was Pawan Arora, I think he's on Twitter, and other was Madan Kumar. He's
Madan
also
Kumar.
on
Yes,
Twitter.
I've heard of him.
So as you said, as I told you, I narrowed it down to these two people, and I tried to reach out to both of them. So Pawan Arora was not accessible that time, but Madan was taking a workshop, a paid workshop. So I mean, it was no brainer to pay money and go to the workshop. And the thing is that I never went to the workshop with a mindset of I can make money from next day. And what I took out of that workshop is if I'm systematic, if I manage my risk well, and if I manage my position size well, over long number of trades, over next 1,000 trades, I will make money for sure. This is how I came out from that workshop, and that's how my system trading journey basically started.
Okay, Pawan, being an engineer, because, okay, for the audience,
Right,
Pawan is a graduate from IIT Bombay, right, Pawan?
right.
So, being an engineer and having that, what do you call, the scientific approach towards things, did it help you
Right.
in becoming a systems trader? And did it help you to realize at a very early phase that, okay, punching random trades is not my cup of tea? And for the fact it's
Right.
not anyone's cup of tea. So, did that scientific approach that we engineers generally have, did it help you in any way?
Really, it helped me to take that point out of that workshop where there were 30 people, and I know many of them even now they are struggling, many of them, because see that number crunching or that win rate or losing rate or risk to reward, it just started making sense to me immediately in 1 hour. It was like, hey, somebody light a bulb in my head and now everything is making sense. That you won't believe, when I came out of that workshop, at I was so pumped at 7 o'clock in the night that I couldn't sleep. And I was talking to my wife, hey, I promise you will make money in long run, will be very rich. And all. I was talking all this with my wife. And then I ended up writing an email to Madan around 12 in night. And I wrote my heart out and I was like, I promise you I will be successful in this, because I just realized what it takes to be successful. And strategy is the least important part of it. And that's why, after that, it took me just 6 months to come up with systems and become profitable after that.
So that was your Eureka moment.
That was my Eureka moment. I was just, man, how I never realized this before this. Win rate, risk to reward, and whatever he talked about. Many other aspects, but yeah, they go deep into the system trading. But after that Eureka moment, the only piece which was left in that puzzle was to coming up with systems. And that is actually easy part, I would say. I mean, people
really,
think
most people would say that's difficult.
No, that is very easy part, I would say, because I'll tell you step-by-step process which I have followed. I think if somebody follows that, I'm pretty sure that they will be able to get trend following systems. And then coming to option selling system, I'll cover in the end how I sell my options. And it's a very simple rule-based option selling. That's nothing much. So what I did is I first invested in good data. And we basically, I had data for Nifty and Bank Nifty 1 minute since the inception. So Nifty futures, I had it since 2011. And Bank Nifty futures I had since 2013. So
you buy this from a data service provider?
I bought it from a vendor.
Okay.
It cost me, I don't remember, but it was a very good quality data, I would say. So invest in a good quality data. That is a must if you are going via the system trading route. And then second thing is, see, being a newbie, I have not seen that many charts and I don't have the understanding of market. So after we read few books, we start understanding what is a candlestick is, open, high, low, close, market going up, making higher high, going down, making lower lows and things like that. What I did is I started watching 5 minutes, 10, 15, 30 and 1 hour charts for last 10 years. So I watched all these charts in all these time frame for last 10 years. It is a very tedious and boring job to replay every day and start seeing candles being formed, right?
Correct.
So problem is that many a time when we design system just by coding, we don't know after we entered what happened to us, how much the position went against us and then came back in profit, how much we gave up our open profits, how we were in 10 lakh profit and ended up making just 2 lakh because we followed our rules. If we see all this happening in the backtest by replaying the candles, then sometime you will discard a system just saying, hey, I know it's making money, but I will not be able to see such kind of fluctuations with my real money, and it just doesn't make sense for me to pursue it, right? So you'll discard many things just there.
So right? I noticed something, Pawan, here. So though you are a systems trader, and though you're running algorithmic trading and the computer doing all the heavy lifting for you, even then, when you're developing a system, that system has to fit with your psychology, right?
True.
So there is a misconception among the people that, okay, if I find a system, if I find a working system which makes money, I'll be able to make money. No, that system not just has to make money, it has to sit with your psychology as well.
It has to sit with your psychology. And how will you borrow the conviction? You can borrow a system, but can't borrow the conviction, right?
Absolutely.
The system, the guy who's trading the system, he has gone through many drawdowns and many equity highs. And for example, just now I'm in a losing streak for 7 consecutive days. Every day is red for me, right? But it's okay because I have seen this happening in the past and it is nothing new and risk is under control. And we are just saving our money to trade on Monday. That's all I'm doing. So I'm saying I have seen these losing streaks in the past. The maximum losing streak as per my backtest have been 21 or 22 trades serially.
Wow.
So if I have position size such that I can handle those losses, right, and manage under a certain drawdown, then it's okay. I mean, so if you are not played the candle by candle for a trend following system, you will be living that emotion in live market. And problem is when your money is on the line and you get such emotion, you end up discarding that system very early, just before maybe it might start making money, right?
Exactly. You'll discard the system when it is exactly at the peak of its drawdown.
Exactly. So it has happened with many people. And the problem is, even if it's a simple system, let's say you are trading a 10-minute opening range breakout, just go through the bar by bar replay to see, hey, I was in 50-point profit, but I ended up in loss. I was in 100-point profit, but I made just 30 points. So does it suit you? It doesn't suit many people. And that's why they take the other route of maybe selling options, positional, intraday, whatever, right? Which is more of a high win rate, low risk to reward, consistent, seeing more green days than red days kind of systems. And you'll only come to know whether you are a trend follower at heart or not, because trust me, it
Exactly.
is very difficult to take
Exactly.
these losses on a daily basis.
No,
And
and I think one more thing that comes out here is the kind of effort that goes in. Like most people want some kind of plug and play thing that they can
Yeah.
just do, but there is a huge amount of work that goes on behind it to make it your system and to customize it. Like to look at charts for 10 years. I mean, not to digress too much, but I got a call 2-3 days back from a person who's like, I don't know that much about trading. You just tell me what to do and I will do it. And it feels like
No.
to someone who does this as a profession, it feels so weird when you look at people and they think that this is, okay, maybe you're not a discretionary trader, but at least as a system trader, you can just plug it in somewhere and it will run
No,
for you.
man.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all. And you have to go through that pain. And to see, I'll tell you, see how how methodical I was in planning this entire thing. The point is that I had to spend 8 to 9 hours a day to watch charts. So I have to be really good in my job that time, so that I can finish that work quickly while my management thinks it's a long hour work, and still I have the time where I can watch. So I planned this entire thing, right? Where
Right.
I was good in work, and then I had time and I did this, and then I changed my job. In my current job, I don't have time. I have a lot of work, interesting work, which I do daily. But now, since it's completely automated, I don't have to, right? But I couldn't do it without having that much time.
But Pawan,
So
one thing, a lot of people have time, okay? A lot of people have time, and the way they utilize their time is completely different. And again, everything comes down to that burning desire you had. That's what I can see.
right. So I'm a very greedy person, I can tell you. I just need shitload of money, and my purpose of life is that only, that I want to make a lot of money and I want
I
to
would say
spend it. That's all.
ambitious. I would think
Ambitious.
ambitious is a better word than greedy, because greedy would be if you don't want to put in the effort and you just want to gain.
Right.
I think
mean,
here even though you have a lot going on, and I think this also addresses a misconception that trading can only be done full time. Trading requires that kind of attention, but provided you're the kind of person with discipline to be able to manage your time, and if you
Right.
can, like, for example, automate the execution to the extent that you have, then it's totally possible.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. Right.
So,
Excellent. So how did you get around to the actual system building, and then how did you deploy it? Did you put up X amount of capital? I just want to know the story of how you brought it to life. And if I understand correctly, there's a options buying system and a selling system.
Yeah, so
Working.
I'll come to it. So see, option buying is a system which is tested on futures. So it's very simple. And the reason to do that is very, very scalable. And I'll tell you why. I remember in one of your video, you talked about that intraday trading. After a while, you start moving the market. Your size becomes so big that you start moving the market. Although your view and everything is right, but since your position size is so much that when you are exiting, you are only taking it to the other side and burning your own fingers, right? Now, when you are having a view in the future, so let's say you want to go long in future. Now, here, I can do many things. What I can do, if I'm trading Nifty, I can buy monthly options. They are liquid enough. I can buy ATM, assuming it's a 0.5 delta. I can go slight ITM, assuming it's a 0.6 delta. Little bit more ITM, it's a 0.7 delta. The key is position sizing, that if you are 0.7 delta, then assume that your one option will lose also 0.7 or 0.75 of what future will lose, right? Then I can go to weekly options and I can buy ITM there, 1, 2, 3. If I have more liquidity crunch, I go to round strikes deep in the money. They are decently liquid, 500s and thousands. And I can assume they are one delta. They are as good as futures. And I can enter there. So the scalability is insane even for an intraday system if you take signals on futures and then enter in options.
So when did you decide that you have to be a trend follower and not an option seller or a non-directional trader or the person who follows mean reversion or something like that? When did you decide that you want to be a trend follower?
So, see, I have a theory about it, and I think you might not agree being an option seller, but here it goes. So my theory is simple. No matter what my win rate is, right? In the end, the probability of next trade getting success or failure is 50% for me. So when system starts going north, let's say the market situation is such that it is not working out. The only savior is risk to reward. And those outliers, 10R, 20R, 30R trades. So that's why I believe a trend following system where you buy when everyone is buying, sell when everyone is selling, and just sit tight will never go bust ever. Actually, that's my theory.
I mean, that's
provided
perfect.
You stopped in the right place.
Exactly. And a lot of people think that strategy is something that comes from the market observation, but it's completely bullshit. The strategy comes from your perspective on life, your perspective on how money works, your perspective on how market works. Basically, see, as Pawan said, he had a theory, right? And he immediately said that I might not agree with that theory, right? So whatever, it's about your belief systems, right? The strategy, how do I put it, originates from your belief system, and you start to nurture it and then fine tune it and refine it, and then that strategy becomes something well executable money making strategy in the long run. So this is the misconception that I wanted to address, that strategies, they don't come from the market observations, but it comes from your own belief systems.
I want to just come in here. So Pawan, I see, okay, so you got the data, you started watching candlesticks, you tested different things. I'm sure you tried different signals, right? So now, sometimes multiple indicators. Let's talk about people who use indicators on charts, crossovers, or anything, RSI, divergence, anything. They try different things, and most of the time a lot of them correlate, and they say, okay, this will be my first confirmation, this will be my second confirmation, third confirmation, 3 out of 5 parameters that I'm testing for have confirmed, let me enter the trade. So how did you get around there? Like, what was, you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to use as a signal. Like this could be based on any time frame. But I'm sure there's a history to, you tried one signal, maybe that didn't work out, then you tried another signal, then you tried a combination. So I want to go into specifics of what exactly did you say that, okay, this is going to be, because when people say trend following can come from many things. Okay, trend following can be something as simple as shorter moving average over longer moving average long. Like if you pull back, for example, let's say move to 50 moving average, and then you're like, okay, but it might break down from here. So let's say it's a lower crossover, but anyone can define that in many ways. How did you define it is what I want to get into. And did that change also over time? Yeah.
So first of all, let me tell you, I don't use any indicator or anything like that. I just use price as the only thing. I don't use option chain, OI, indicator, nothing, just simple price. So that removed a lot of clutter, right? Already. And what was left is the level identification, that how do we trade? Basically, I'm a breakout trader, right? So some people call it trend following, but it is actually trend plus momentum, because trend is up, but I will not buy if it doesn't break the last swing high or something like that.
Right.
So being a breakout trader, the only thing which was left is level identification, and then you enter the breakout. So I would say identifying entries, I referred few books. I think Madan's workshop provided few general entry rules.
I think he uses structural pivots, right?
Exactly. So structural pivot is nothing but these peaks and valleys which you see in the market, and there are 100 ways to mark them. I have also shared few books on Twitter. I think there is a book called Trend Quantification, which talks about how you can mark these points mechanically. And they are nothing but supply and demand zones in the market. So say,
Okay.
for example, I'll give you even how example of how you can mark, right? And how, what are the open variables which are left to a trader to decide, right? So I'll tell you, see, today, assume that today's first bar and then second bar breaks the first bar. So it has formed a higher high. Then third bar breaks the second bar. So it is again a higher high. So every higher high which is becoming in the market, it is a potential swing high. Potential means it has a potential to become a swing high.
Correct.
But when a potential swing high becomes a real swing high is when that high is not taken out by the next 3 bars, say for example. So then it becomes kind of a local maxima in this last 8-9 bars, where you moved upwards in an impulsive manner, formed a high, pulled back and didn't take out that high for next 3 bars, and then it become a real swing high, right? So I'm just telling you now this, whether it should wait for 3 bars or 10 bars, it is left to the trader. But otherwise it is very simple, right? That you are finding local maximas or minimas, right? So the level identification, once you make these rules, are nothing but 5, 10 and 15 minutes of local maximas and minimas. And that is how I identified my levels. After that, I also read another book, which I would say there's a secret of pivot boss.
Frank Ochoa, yes.
And I have taken few ideas from there as well. He talks again very rule based, although he doesn't have, he's not that, he doesn't provide backtest data for a long time, but it's very systematic. You can make your own rules out of it. So with these 3-4 books, I was able to make my rules. And since I was sure from day one that I don't want to use any indicator, the only variable which I had to play was price, and the clutter was already removed. So it was not that difficult. I would say the difficulty was in finding filters when not to trade, and in finding ways to trail my stop loss, and to set where to set a stop loss. So entries was easy. Exit was the tricky part. Entries was never the problem actually after a while.
Absolutely. Optimizing for exit can be quite a headache in terms of, okay, did I let it go to, did I give up too much of my profit, or did I cut out too early? Very, very difficult to find. So basically you work straight with the prices, and the idea is that you're going to identify certain levels, and as it is testing the level, you will try to take a buy, like you will buy those options.
So say for example, there is a 5-minute swing high above today's opening. So let's say I want to trade a breakout of that, right? So now I have many options. I take a direct breakout as soon as it goes above, or I wait for a 5-minute bar close above it. I wait for a very strong 5-minute bar which is wide in range, and the whole bar is filled with body and volume. So there are many rules of verifying a breakout. You take direct breakout, you take many other ways.
What you also look at volume, right? Or
I don't
only price.
I don't look at volume. I look at only price. But I'm saying many ways to identify a breakout even at a level. Some people look at volume, some people look at closes, some people take direct breakouts. So I take direct breakouts. Because my theory is that the successful breakouts
won't give a retest. Won't give a retest.
They just run away. They will never come back.
Correct.
And we are searching for that crazy breakouts. We don't know when they come. So basically my theory is you just do one thing on one level. Always. What will happen is either it will fail or pass.
Correct.
When it passes, then just ride the trend. That's my theory.
And hit big, right? So you were talking about 10R, 20R, 30R.
20R kind of trades.
What is your proportionate risk per trade? Like, I
was about to ask that.
For example, maybe we can get into specifics if you don't mind here. For example, you said you had a couple of losing days, which is like the most normal thing for anyone. But I want to understand, is it that something generated a sell signal yesterday? and did you like sort of
Yeah.
play for
So
a
for example, if you
breakdown?
see, so if you see
So what
yesterday's
is your
price
risk
action.
on the other side? Yeah.
So now the systems have become a bit sophisticated. So by sophistication, what I mean is that rather than entering all at one, I trade multiple setups, breakouts. So yesterday, for
Okay.
example, first setup triggered Nifty short. It ended in loss. Second setup triggered Bank Nifty long. That ended in loss because after breaking out, it again pulled back after almost 250, 300 points, and my stop was taken out. Then option selling, all stop loss got hit except one out of some 9 or 10 positions. And then I was sitting in somewhere around 2.5 lakh loss. And then a Nifty long triggered, and that gave me money. And my loss was covered a bit. And I would say I ended up 2% loss for yesterday. So what I believe is if you add more randomness, since everything is random, I believe, right? No two system can have a correlation of one until and unless your entries are exactly the same.
Yes.
So there can be low correlation, there can be high correlation, but it cannot be one. So even if you just diversify a bit in your entries, just delay it by 5 minutes in 2 entries, right? Take first entry on breakout and second on confirmation, and take 5, 10, 15 minutes breakout. Then the probability of losing in all of them reduces a lot. So although I take high risk, I have lost 4-5% of my capital in a day, and I'm aware of that. I'm okay to lose that. But if you diversify, the probability of 10 trades going wrong and losing 5% becomes much lesser than if you take just one trade and risk 5%. Yes. So I risk small amounts in multiple trades.
So, and this entire system of you running multiple systems, it is super scalable, right? Because you are sitting on different strikes, different instruments, you're entering at different times, exiting at different times. So even if your size becomes like super big, you don't have liquidity problems.
So Praful, I told people, and again, a perspective and for other system trader is, when I was not trading with big capital, I don't even consider today's capital being big capital, but when I was trading with 5-6 lakh rupees, I was thinking like I have to trade with 10 CR. So I had almost 8-9 systems ready. So I'll tell you: intraday, option buying, option selling, Nifty, Bank Nifty, 4 systems. Positional, option buying in Nifty and Bank Nifty. I'm not a positional seller. I just don't like to sell position overnight. So I'll buy option weekly, Nifty and Bank Nifty. So, I mean, with these 5-6 sit-ups, and you can sit in multiple strikes, I'm good to handle, let's say 20-30 CR without any problem. So point is, when I was preparing for my journey in trading, even without increasing the capital, I was prepping for when big day comes, what will happen. Because now I don't have time to design system. My job is very hectic. So I did all that R&D then, and now I'm good to go. Just to add perspective.
I think you followed, you approached this with the same meticulousness with which you approached your JEE exams.
No, I mean, it really shows that it at the end of the day is that discipline. And you thought about scaling to 200 times your capital and thinking that how will I roll out this at that point of time.
The reason to think that is also shares that working full time, my wife is working full time, we both have good beyond good, right? So access to capital is never a problem. Problem was always coming up with rules and everything. So that's, I could imagine maybe because of that I had bank account with money, just I wasn't ready then. That's all.
Yeah. And also, I think, I mean, something else to point out here, and something that I realized in the past year at least, is if you know what you're doing and if you can show people that you know what you're doing, I don't think capital is a problem. Like, people have a lot of money that they want to give to someone who can generate that little bit of an extra income for them, because they don't know what to do with it. There are a lot of people. Yeah, I'm sure, Praful, you get approached every alternate day by someone saying, manage my capital. And even though, of course, we won't even get into all of that. It's too much gray area. But the thing is, I mean, even if it's not your own personal money, and this is for people, for example, who are listening to this, who feel that I have something really good, but I don't have anyone to finance it. That's not necessarily true. Like if you really know what you're doing, there are lots of people out there. It's just about finding them who would happily give you that risk capital to manage. Of course, there's a whole legality around it and all gray areas, so I will not get into that. But just putting that out there.
Yeah, but
But
as you
excellent,
said, right?
Pawan. Yeah.
Yeah. Excess of capital is not a problem, but I realize it now after on Twitter, after seeing many people. But when I was doing all this R&D, I didn't even have a Twitter account. So I was in my shell in my home without knowing anything. I was doing all these things. And that time I didn't know all these things even exist here.
So, Pawan, tell me about this. You started into systems trading, and do you think that you having another stable source of income, the income from your job, did it have any impact in your ability to follow that process staunchly? I mean, a lot of people, I can see that there's a lot of desperation because they want that monthly income, fixed monthly income from trading, but trading पे ऐसे monthly income का scheme है ही नहीं, right? Especially if you are a trend follower and especially if you are an options buyer, मतलब there will be like just 2 months which can make up for your entire year of gains, and the remaining 10 months all you have to do is just protect your profits. Okay, but लोगों में क्या रहता है, एक desperation सा रहता है कि every month on month I want to make profits, and because of that they keep hopping from systems to systems. So how did your job and your another stable source of income affect your psyche when it comes to following the process?
Right. So again, I'll take you back to that webinar to start with a quote where Padan said that if you are trading to buy tomato and onions, then you are bound to fail. Actually, you'll never make money in the market. And it's called capital market for a reason. And with all the respect to people who are starting small, but it really makes it easy with somebody has a money flowing in month on month to take care of their vacation, their household expenses and everything, and then having something extra on which they can make money. And it really helped me a lot. And the ability to handle drawdown, I would say, sitting on let's say 20 losers in a row has a lot to do, because when the month ends, I don't care what happened in my trading account, because there is a check coming at the end of the month, which is good enough to take care of all my needs, which I have as of now. So it is, I would say, if you are a system trader, aspiring system trader, and you are working and you like your job, right? See, some people just, some people will really love trading. But if you ask me, I don't love trading. I never watch charts. I don't care what is supply, demand, Nifty, SGX.
You want to make money.
I just want to make money. So I don't love trading, right? I don't like to have 4 monitors. For example, I share my setup to people on Twitter and I get 100 comments. Hey, first trading setup with 1 monitor. And I'm like, it is not a trading setup. It is my work setup. My trading is done by my algo. So I just don't like, there is nothing in trading I love other than making money, to be honest. I'm not fascinated by markets. So I love my job. So if you love your job, you should go the system trading route, get it coded by somebody or code it yourself, make the execution robust, start small, take 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, 2, just make sure all the errors are gone. Because when you are trusting a machine to execute it for you, there is a lot which can go wrong. And that is, you have to make sure that nothing can go wrong as long as broker and NSE are up. If broker is down or NSE is down, even manually you can't do anything, right?
Yep.
But if these 2 places are up and running, your algo should be smart enough to get you out. Because point is that once you are an algorithmic trader, right, slowly your trading will become so boring that you might not look for 3 hours or 4 hours, and it might go south. So
probably the idea is eventually don't even look. It's just running in the background every day.
I mean, many people make fun of me, but I posted, right? Recently, I had some incident in my home and I had to travel. And my flight got cancelled and I made some decent money that day, some 3-4% of my capital. Had I been a trader who needs a screen or a Zerodha to punch order, I was in flight. How can I punch order? And trend followers cannot afford to miss a day, like option sellers.
100%.
In my option selling, I don't mind if I miss a day because the rewards are limited. I can hardly make more than 1% in a day. It's okay. But there have been days where in trend following, I made 22% in a day.
Wow.
It's a
Oh,
day
wow.
I remember still. And I mean, imagine if I miss that day, then what will happen? It is my
Correct.
3 months of profit, which has come in one day, and I missed that. So it is a big no-no for a trend follower to miss any signal. And I would say go the algorithmic route and don't leave your job. And you will feel so free even in your job. When your boss assigns you extra work, you can say no. You don't care about promotions. You don't care about hikes, 5% extra. You will work, go to office, have coffee, meet with people. You'll have a life other than market, and it'll be smooth sailing. Many traders are lonely. I know they don't have any work. So all day they'll be on doing something random or bitching about something. This all goes away because on weekdays
I
and
know
even
I know
on
what you're
weekends,
referring to.
right? So I mean, point is they,
As honest as it can get, Pawan.
Of course.
no, I'm just saying that, see, when you get lonely, you have to, and another positive point I would say is, see, many people take trade out of boredom.
That's true.
True.
Many a time they are watching the charts, nothing is forming in their brain, only it is forming,
Yeah,
and
we
they
force
punch
the
the orders
patterns, we force the systems.
because
Yes.
we force the system, we force the patterns. If you have a job, you don't have time to watch the charts. How will you do any trade out of boredom?
I think this
Absolutely.
this point is gonna resonate with a lot of people, like people who are stuck in a job, and I won't say stuck, but who have a job and who want to trade and who think that it's impossible to trade, with having with a job side by side. So this point is gonna resonate really well with all those people.
And I think there is some hard truth here as far as some delusions around trading. Look, if I have the confidence that, okay, I have my trading account, and worst case scenario, something goes wrong, terribly goes wrong,
Right.
even then I'll be fine because I have this steady source of income which is going to take care of my family, it's going to take care of all my needs. And if not, I have this backup. Like, and this works in all contexts. Maybe you're full time into trading, but you have a product that you sell to people,
Right.
or you have
Right.
some services that you provide to people from which you have a diversified income source. What that
Right.
does for your confidence is huge, because
True.
you know that,
Huge.
okay, let us say in a drawdown situation, I'm losing X, I'm not generating income. Or actually, even if you're a breakout trader, and exactly as Praful said, if you're doing that, I was talking to a futures trader yesterday. It's like all my profit comes in 3 months, in a
Right.
year, and the other part of it is just like nothing is happening. So that thing
Yeah.
is not there. But this consistent income from a diversified source, it gives you that confidence. And as a trader, I think confidence is the number one thing you need to have. Like, if your confidence is broken, you will not be able to trade, period, ever.
True.
So
100%.
So actually, to
wonderful.
add one point here is that, Shreyas, that when people say they hate their job, there are different parts of job, right? And some part they hate, and those parts which they hate can go away by trading. So that's where I'll tell you a story, right?
Wow, this is
Around
deep actually.
2000,
Go on.
this is very deep, and I'll tell you, I'll give another perspective, and many people will resonate with it. So 2018, I was due for a promotion in my last company, and I was the well deserving guy, and I was so good in my job that I could say it to my manager and director's face that the guy you have promoted, if any complex works come, will you give it to him? And they couldn't see me in the eyes. It was that difficult for them to answer me. And yet I was not promoted that year for a reason that the other guy was senior to me or whatever. Now it
Mm-hmm.
affected me mentally then, right? Because I mean, there are other factors. Promotion brings money, promotion brings stocks. There is a competition among your fellow traders. You have to make more money than them. And I mean, it is a normal human nature.
Right.
Today, when my salary discussion happens at the end of the year, my manager asks, do you have any question? I'm like, no. What is your future plan? You decide. What do you want to? You decide. I just don't care. So I like the work part of it. I don't like the performance pressure, the competition among fellow your colleagues, ratings, promotion, growing fast. Because I'm like, hey, 5 years down the line, let's say I buy a Mercedes and I go in by Mercedes, and my director is coming in a small car. Then he will say, what the hell is this guy doing? So, I mean, that I'm telling you, my mind is so free right now that I perform really good at my job without any expectations. And that is another way of getting freedom. Freedom is not like sitting home. What will you do by sitting at home 24 hours? You tell me.
That's there.
So,
No, I
I
think
mean,
one thing I've definitely got from this is you've set up a business that is running,
right,
and what you've
right,
tried to do is you've tried to set it up in a way that your involvement eventually becomes zero. It's like somebody who's
right,
set up a well-oiled machine that
right,
regenerates itself and keeps running, and out of the money
right.
that it's made there, it makes the next machine, it self
Yeah,
propagates, and you're
yeah,
trying to basically create a income generation machine, right? You want a
right,
money
right,
generation machine that
right.
you want nothing to do with once you've set it up.
Exactly,
This
exactly.
is what you're going for. Wonderful.
Right,
I think
right.
so. That's a pure entrepreneurial mindset more than any kind of trader mindset. There's no trading here.
and he's
It's
super
all
honest, man. He says that I don't like trading. I don't like anything about trading apart from the fact that it makes me money. And he says that I want to make money. That's what my life is about. So that is super honest, because a lot of people, though they want money, they don't want to accept the fact that, okay, I'm after money. They still talk in a
And if I make
saintly
money,
way
I will
that
show
money
off.
doesn't matter and all that. But
Yeah, let
the
me
way he's
put
honest,
another
it's
truth bomb. Yeah, let me put another truth bomb. Like, I even like to show off my money. I mean, I don't care. If I buy something, I'll put it on my social media. I mean, see, Praful, in this COVID time, there is a big realization which has happened to me. I've seen people die at the age of 32.
true.
I am now 31. Okay. And I know that I have some 20 golden years of my life left. Okay. I want to live it to fullest, and I want to spend as I don't want to leave much money for my children. I want to live the bare minimum. That's all. I'm not earning for my children or anybody. So I just want to buy a lot of things for my parents, for what they did to me and how they helped me, and just buy things for myself. So I am into purely, I have some luxury dreams and I just want to fulfill them. I told it once even. So I don't have another thing is I don't have a dream of becoming a really big entrepreneur, handling hundreds of crores, forming some company, or no, that is not what I want to do. Because then again, I'm bringing the pressure or stress into my life, right?
True.
That
Yes.
I don't want that. So I'm very, very clear in what I want to do. Just compound my account and reach to a place where 2-3% consistent is good enough to afford all my luxury, and then that's it.
So, Pawan, I think you have that crystal clear clarity about what you want from life, right? So, you have a particular goal. You know what you want from life, be it luxury, be it money, be it power, whatever it is, be it,
Yeah,
enjoying your life to the fullest. You have that
yeah,
crystal clear clarity, and all your work, all your effort is revolving around that thing. The problem with a lot of people
right,
is they don't exactly know what they want, and your
right,
goals are as personal as they can get, right? So your goals might
right,
not make sense to others, but if they make sense to you, that's all it matters, right? And
yeah,
just like your goals, just like your purpose, just like what you want from life, I think your
right,
trading rules are also as personal as they can get, right? So people can
right,
say that, okay, I can borrow a trading strategy from someone, but yes, you can borrow trading strategy from someone, but sure as hell you can't borrow the conviction, you can't borrow the risk appetite, you can't borrow the discipline. So
right,
I think it all boils down to that, right? So if you know who you are, if you know what you want, I think 90% of the clutter is kind of sorted.
yeah. True. I agree fully with you, Praful. There.
Yes. So, Pawan, I want to get into some of the broader guidelines that you might have. Like, for example, each one we've clearly understood why everyone has to define their own rules. Everyone has
Yeah,
to make their own system. It's more of a personality fit rather
yeah,
than anything else. But if you have some like broader guidelines in terms of bullet points, that, for example, somebody who um, knows nothing about trading, right?
right,
And for that matter, knows nothing about systems, is
right.
watching this and they're like, okay, I want to do something like this. I want this money you're an entrepreneur, you're set up
Yeah,
something that is generating
yeah,
cash flow for you, and they want that. So what would be the guidelines that you would tell someone if somebody's starting out with no idea, but they want to do this? They want the same things that you wanted when you were in 2017, and you're like, hey, look, someone's making money from the market. There's potentially an
yeah,
opportunity there, right? So
yeah.
what would you say to them?
Yeah. So first thing is like many people ask like why should we backtest or something? Because backtest doesn't guarantee that things will work in live market. But if they don't work in backtest, then why the hell you want to trade them? At least that much filtration backtest helps you to do, right? So that is the reason of backtest. And second is screen time. There is no replacement of screen time, right? So the second best thing you can do for a screen time is you can look at charts, historical charts. So here are a few of my bullet points, the exact methods which I follow, and few books I'll tell, which all together, if somebody does, I think he can come up with some rules for trend following. And option selling, I leave it to experts, you and Praful, but I'll tell you what I do, but they are very simple things when it comes to option selling. So for trend following, right, it is very simple. You have to go through few price action book. There is a blog by a guy named Smart Trader, Nifty Nirvana, and he has a very mechanical method where he basically talks about how breakouts or pullbacks or breakout failures can be traded intraday in Indian market context. And second
Nifty Nirvana, is it?
Nifty Nirvana, yeah. And
Okay.
the second is a book, Your Trading Coach by Lance Beggs. So
I've
why
read
I'm
that.
recommending
I've
that
read
is the Nifty Nirvana blog has been the methods of those blogs are pretty much taken from the Lance Beggs books and then molded them for Indian markets basically. So
I think it takes a
once
lot of
you
time to go through this Lance Beck's books because it's a very big book, right? I think 12 plus modules, and he dissects the
yeah
markets to
and
the bone, and he's very detailed in his
yeah
approach.
So point is that so when you read that much, in the end, your system will not have all what he does, but it gives
Yes,
you the
yes,
feel of new rules. You can come up with new rules, right? So
correct.
and trust me, once you make few systems, like I posted yesterday, even at night time, I was drinking and I had some idea and I went to and I started doing a back test for a positional system. So once you read this and after a while, it will start coming natural to you. So, and one thing I would like to add here in this bullet point is that if the best ideas which I trade, right, when I backtested them, they worked in first go without any tweak in parameters. That's a really big sign. If you have some idea and you test it for 10 years and you in your first run it starts making money, that's a gold mine that will work forever because you did not knew the history. You just made an observation and you tested it for 10 years and it worked in first go. No change in entry, no indicator, nothing. And
No
if
tweaking.
you no tweaking, I'm pretty sure that will work.
Shreyas, you
For
remember
you.
some time back we were talking about building systems, and I told I always give more preference to logic than the backtested results.
Absolutely. In
So
fact, I
if
want to
your
add
logic
something
is
here for
yeah,
people watching. All the bullet points that you're giving involves a lot of work and
yeah,
dedication and
yeah,
requires you to, like, there's nothing that you will tell them that you go here and you XYZ you can get it done. It's studying the context, it's making something out of it, and then
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
so it involves a lot of work. It's not going to be like a cookie cutter
yeah,
approach, no shortcuts here.
it's hard work, and even after I tell you, after I tell this and it gets published, it will still be hard work for everyone who has to follow this. It's damn hard work to watch charts for last 10 years, but if you do, I guarantee you that you will find something which works for you for sure. So
Yeah.
uh, one point I'll cover later is about why I chose intraday trading. I'll cover that as. But for the bullet points, like once you are done with reading this book, just buy the data for 10 years and spend money on buying good data. Trust me, don't download it from this Zerodha spot and don't backtest on spot. Yeah, if your spot is not traded, come on. If you are trading
Correct.
a trend following system, test it on futures. Any system, many people test it on spot, and I would say there's a 35-40% difference in the future to spot, and options moves based on futures. And I don't know that, I heard it from option experts and I believe them because although I don't understand how options are priced, but I see options movement, and this is just from watching charts of futures relation to options. I see options react more to future moves.
It depends on
uh,
it depends on the expiry. So if a particular option in future has the exact same expiry, then you
right.
can assume it's moving purely based off that future. For example, if you look at 3 month away future and 3 month away options, they will price similarly. So one other
Yeah.
way is to look at the synthetic future. For example,
Right. But
as
for
of
weekly, we
yeah,
can look at synthetic future, right?
yeah, for weekly, you can look at synthetic future. So if you just,
Yeah.
for those who don't know synthetic future, it's basically either long call and short put
Yeah.
or long
Yeah.
put and short call. So
Yeah.
that
Right.
basically emulates a future. But you're absolutely on point. Testing it on a
Right.
traded instrument is going to give you far
Makes
better results than testing on the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So spend on good money on data and then start testing it. I'm telling you, this is the most tedious part because just imagine how boring it is to watch charts and replay every day for last 10 years. But if you do,
Yes.
many people don't believe in it. But my point is that you'll get a feel of how your system performs. How
Correct.
many times it went in profit and came back to loss? How many times it was just staying there for a long time and you were impatient, but in the end it gave you good reward after consolidation. It suddenly broke out. So you will know whether your psychology is suited for such systems. And if it does, then you make your rules, test them, and make a solid money management plan for it, and then just trade it. If you can spend time on screen, at least automate your execution. If you can automate fully, then there's nothing better than that. So, I mean, it is
If you
not
don't mind, I
that
have a
difficult.
question here as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
When
yeah,
you spoke of money management, if
yeah.
you have, let's say, many systems running at the same time, and let's say you have
Mhm.
fixed capital, right, fixed
Right.
margin, what is your approach to how much you're going to allocate per trade? Maybe something has higher conviction, maybe your more signals have generated. How do you do the money management part? Like how much trade goes,
Yeah,
money goes to
so
which?
yeah, that might take us to all different thing. But just to tell you is that I don't bet same on all the setups.
Hmm.
I have
Makes
some
sense.
days I will be 3,500 quantity and some day I will be just 1,000 quantity. So that much my size varies based on the conviction, right?
Okay.
Because that has come from back testing. So again, to not have any bias or curve fitting, what I have done is these are independent price action setups. They all run. The setups which has given more return historically, I bet more on them. And the setup which has given less returns are the setup which is providing diversification here. People just don't understand the power of diversification
Yeah.
till you experience it. On the days on which these golden setup doesn't work, these setups will save you something, right? So as I said,
Correct.
rather than risking 4%, let's say, because many people say don't risk 4%. I mean, 1% a day is rule too. Who makes it's my own money? It's my rule. I mean, come on. So the only thing which changes, hey, if I risk 4% on one system, the probability of losing versus if I risk 4% on 8 setups, 0.55%, the probability of losing everything reduces a lot. And my Twitter feed, people will see, right? Earlier, I was trading just one system and I went to 22% drawdown. Now I have not touched 10% drawdown. That doesn't mean I'm not ready. The kind of risk I'm taking, I'm still ready for a 20% drawdown, to be honest.
Hmm.
But the chances are very less because of the lot of randomness which
Diversification,
I've introduced.
basically.
Yeah. So,
Excellent.
yeah. So just to come back to the bullet point is once you have one system, just focus on executing it and taking it through few drawdowns. You will learn a lot more by going through 5-6 drawdowns than going to some trainer or something. There is something about handling drawdowns and coming to equity high. It is just something I love. And especially being an option buyer, sometimes imagine you have been on 40 days of drawdown and you just hit. I mean, that mental high is something. If you slowly start, you can only experience this. I mean, I cannot even explain it in word like how I feel. But if you go through, then the confidence in your system just increases. You are on
Yeah.
steroids after that. You will not.
I
Change a
think
thing.
that's so true because even if you're a discretionary trader and you're trading in a certain way and you have gone through a drawdown, the moment when you reach a new equity high is going to be like, okay, I'm not an idiot. I
Yeah.
have
And
Yeah.
And one thing I have learned from my experience, at least something what I have faced, and I don't know about you guys, but I never faced a problem in taking a loss and taking series of losses. My biggest psychological problem, and which even today I'm fighting to cover, is holding biggest winner.
I think that's the last stage in anyone's trading
because,
learning curve.
I mean, the advantage of automating it is, even if I want to tweak, I cannot tweak because algo is doing its thing in the background, right? So one day my profit was 6 lakh and it went to 12 lakh and it came to 5 lakh and it ended at 10 lakh. And another day I was at 12 lakh and my day ended at 5 lakh. I lost almost, how much money I lost? It is so much bigger than my few months of take home, except the stocks and everything. So, but I'm okay with it now slowly. And this is as Praful said, the last stage of trading where you will face these burdens. And I hope if these psychological burden go away, then I'll become a proper trader. But still, I go through a lot of emotions, to be honest. Being an option buyer, I just don't tweak the system. That's all. I go through a lot of emotions, I would say.
I think my mentality around this, and something that has helped me, is I always look at mark to market as poker chips on the table. Now, look, I'm in a trade, it's making money. Maybe it makes more, maybe it doesn't. And I have a particular way of trailing in whatever style. But you will obviously always feel the pinch of giving up that upside. But I found like a particular way of trailing which I'm happy with, wherein first I reduce my risk exposure to the extent I can, and then I try to eke it out a little bit. But this will vary from certain system to system.
But this is very different when it comes to option buying, because it will drop within 2 minutes. You are losing 4 lakh, and 2 minutes you are gaining 4 lakhs. It's another type of circus in option buying. So
and that mentality has to be there.
And just to digress a bit, just one story for 2 minutes is I think a month back, I made my first 10 lakh intraday for the first time. And I will now tell you what I did in the background for that day. Okay. So I was working in office, right? Like a normal job. And I saw trade working out. I'm getting Telegram messages. So whenever I'm free, I see. And there was a time after which I just couldn't focus on work. Honestly, I'm telling you, hand on heart, I'm telling you, I just couldn't focus. And I was like, hey man, if I stay in front of system, today I will tweak it, because it was my first 10 lakh number I saw on the screen. It is a different feeling, right? If you have seen it in the past, it is not, now it is normal. Just 10 days later, I lost 12 lakh to 5 lakh. It was okay, but for the first time, so I said, hey, I'm taking second half off. Then I went to a spa and I switched off my phone and I was just having a deep tissue massage there. And by the time it ended, like the market closed, and I was like, okay, now I can see. I was paranoid that day. So I'm saying there are a lot of psychological things people will go through when they start trading big money, and you will only feel it when you start trading big money. So for example, if I reach to, let's say, 10x bigger size, I might be a completely different trader than what I am today. And nobody can teach you that. So there is one thing which I emphasize on Twitter is, if you have to seek advice from anybody, seek it from people who trade size, who trade hundreds, 500s of lots. Somebody can capture 1,000 points on 2 lots. How does it matter? So seek advice from people who have traded big. They will tell you how it is different trading big than trading 2 lots पे मैंने option buy किया, I made 100%. Wow, very good. I don't know that. I mean, how it works. So I keep saying because anybody who's trading big, Shreyas, has a lot of nuggets or important pointers to give, which is only come by experience. Even I don't,
because they didn't get there overnight, na Pawan. They started with the 1, they went to 5, went to 10, 20, 50, 100, and some people who think that, hey, this is being done with X money, it can be done with 10x money, 20. Biggest joke ever told, because it does not work that way.
So that's why this Excel backtesting and compounding to make 5,000% return with one lot of option to going 1,000 lot of option. Yeah, it only can be done in an Excel sheet. It can't be done in live market.
That is hardcore truth. Like, I mean, I can tell you this from my own experience. There was a point where I used to do 50% positional trading, 50% intraday trading. What I realized is over some period of time, I was doing really good with that 50% intraday trading. I said, scrap the positional model altogether, only intraday trading. And the biggest mistake I made is I did the same thing, but twice the size. And I was just not used to looking at those mark to markets. It's muscle memory. I remember that if market moved in X way, this much loss, this much profit. It was the worst trading day of my life. Not from losing money perspective, but it just the overall experience.
Just mentally, overall experience. And people don't talk about it. I mean, this how you feel in a day. And another reason, just to add here, is for system trading, right? Is that, see, we are human, right? We go through many emotions. We have our personal relationship, professional relationship. We can get sick. I mean, we can have a fight with somebody. We are just not feeling good for the day. If you are a system trader, you will perform exactly as per the system. But if you are a discretionary trader, this is just how I believe. I think, and I have to trust my belief system, is that on such days, it is very difficult for a discretionary trader to be on his 100%.
Very true. Very true.
Absolutely. So Pawan, first of all, this has been superb so far, and I want to just go on something that you spoke a little bit earlier. Let's say I don't have coding knowledge, and I might not be into software and stuff, and it's very intimidating. And how does are there people out there who, if I have a very clear setup in mind, who can do it for me? Do you know somebody in the space, or how this works? What's your thought process around the whole thing?
So the thought process is if you can, I mean, I believe in being in 100% control of what is happening with my account, and involving somebody else actually brings another variable. So if you are a engineer, or if you are MBA, or if you have some knowledge of mathematics and all that, then I would say, it's your money, hard-earned money, and if you want to make really big, why not learn it? It is not that difficult to learn Python. To be honest, it's the most easiest language out there with the limited amount of restriction, and you can learn to code. Even if you get it coded by somebody, right? Still, you have to know Python to tweak small things. You can have some comments on top of that code. Hey, if I change this to 500, then it goes ITM. If I do this number, then some amount of coding, if you don't know, and then you are driving a car which is this, I mean, you don't know anything about, right? So if it is possible, please learn to code. If you can't code, then I would say execution part, you can pretty much, there are a lot of people who can give you softwares, and where execution can be automated, right? Because it is just buy and sell. So the amount of background, I mean, the thing which they need to code is very limited. They just need to handle few corner cases, and they are done with it, right? But if you are going for 100% black box automated system solution, which you will run on cloud and it will make money for you, and it is coded by somebody else, I feel we are just expecting too much by paying somebody 10,000-15,000 rupees, I would say.
So a question here. I'm from a finance background. I'm okay with math and logic.
Right.
But just assume average to below average intelligence here.
Right.
And I know nothing about coding. I learned C and Java in school, so what they teach you in 10th standard. But that's the extent.
You can learn.
How long would it take me to if I were to study coding? Because the way I see it is, if you can't dedicate the time to do it, and you think that there's some cookie cutter solution, it's not going to be there. I'm sure.
So I would say,
what is the
for
time
you,
it would take?
If you are MBA in finance, I would say, and you have done some programming maybe 10, 20, 15 years back. Let me put it this way.
Yeah.
I would say 6 months, you would be able to do your job. Your code might not look as beautiful as a software engineer code does, but it will do the job for you. And you will know what is happening. So what will happen is, whenever the code doesn't work, you will know, hey, I did this, it doesn't work, so let me add this thing. There are so many nuances in algo trading, and so many things go wrong. I would say, if you can learn it by yourself to handle these corner cases, I have not found many people who do all of this, right? Many times then you have to manually intervene. And point is that, see, if you are trading, you are in front of trading desk, or if you know that your trade has to be executed by you, your brain is kind of it's fully focused on the trading. But
Yes.
if you do algo trading and your software did not throw any error for 6 months, and one day it gets screwed up and you don't know how to handle it, then it is a big chaos, right? Because now you are out of control. I mean, things are out of control. So that is another problem, that algo trading will slowly move you away, completely away from these markets, and you will not even think about it, right? And then suddenly one day comes and you are like chaos. So
That's
if
It
possible,
opens up
please
that
do.
room to do other things. Like one of my friends who also is in algo trading, he keeps posting like stupid jokes all the time. I'm like, you have time to do this because everything else is running in the background, so
Right,
you have
right.
all the time in the world. But you're absolutely right. I think with scale, eventually you have to have that kind of semi-automation to complete automation, because
Yeah,
otherwise, I mean, there is only to certain extent that this can be done manually. It cannot be
yeah,
scaled up manually throughout. I
yeah,
completely agree on that front.
yeah,
Superb, yeah, Pawan. I think this particular conversation has had a deep insight into how personality also needs to fit. Personality system
Yes.
fit should be there.
yeah,
How you need to be very like brutally honest about yourself, and also a lot of misconceptions around. Many people think system trading is you backtest a strategy, it is good, and then you run it. No,
yeah,
you literally sit through it, see candle by
yeah,
candle. Okay, how
yeah,
would I have felt? I mean,
yeah.
you're
It
reliving it even though you weren't there.
yeah, it has to be relived. That is very, very important, I would say.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And another thing is, I would say, see, by the now you would have realized it. Yeah, I could have done the same capital what I'm doing now 2 years back. It's not a problem. But I just traded with 6 lakh rupees, and I I made 100% return in 6 months that time, and the thought never came into my mind ki, hey, I could
Put
have
more
made it on,
money.
let's say, 1 CR,
Hmm.
right? Because I just wanted to make my execution super robust. And if you have time, like just 2 minutes to tell you that there was a one execution blunder which cost me some 3 lakh rupees in a day on a capital of 10 lakh rupees that time. So
Oh God.
what happened is, basically in Corona time, if you know, the liquidity of next week options was almost zero.
Yeah.
And on the day of expiry, that time, what I used to do is, I'm an option buyer, so to save me from intraday decay, I used to buy next week's option. So
Okay.
algo was tuned to do that. What happened is, market was so volatile that entry and stop loss was coming in 2 seconds. It was damn volatile. March
Right.
2020. So the thing is, if somebody like now, if somebody trades algo at a VIX of 17, 18 or 15, 16, he might never face this case till VIX
Correct.
80 came. So I was lucky enough to have this small capital and to gone through that entire VIX 82 to 20 transaction by fixing my algos, and the kind of robustness it brought to my algorithm is of next level. So to tell you what happened that day is, my signal came short and I entered into a put position, buy put, but there is no
Hmm.
seller. Now
Wow.
what happens? It's open. Then exit came in 1 second. I exited at market. Now I'm the only seller. I have a sold position rather than buy position, because when I bought, nobody sold, and I placed
Yeah.
a market order and it was in open state, and uh, then I sold. Now
Yeah.
you won't believe, and it is documented on my Twitter. I shared, hey, I lost this much money, but just see the plead of a guy. I am posting on Twitter, hey, on NSE website, the open interest is showing my 10 lots. What should I do? And nobody has answers to it. And that option I sold for, I think $600 or something. And then finally, some buyer was willing to. I mean, I think I lost somewhere around 900 points on a single lot in that
Oh wow.
Oh,
option.
You
wow.
you didn't use a future to cut risk on it?
I didn't understand, Shreyas, that how to do all this future and all. I didn't understand that
Fair
time.
enough.
So now
Fair enough.
I understand that if I've sold an option and it goes wrong, maybe in another account I can buy an option or I go long in the future. I understood now. Hey, in my personal conversation with you would have realized I don't understand much other than my system even now. I had to ask you that day that what is this arbitrage or something to have this quarterly
Margins up.
settlement thing, something. So he typed one line and I'm like, I don't understand this. What are you saying? So And I keep it. I try to
Pawan,
keep it that way.
you're being very humble, but like
Right.
the honesty that you're and you don't need to know beyond what your
I don't
system
need to
is
know.
as well.
And to be honest, I mean, not humble. To be honest, I'm saying I want to know the least possible things I can. I trade options. I make 2 to 3% a month without understanding how options are priced.
What else do you want?
What else do you need? I
Because
mean, you said it yourself. You don't like trading. You don't like options. You
Yeah.
like making money. So you just
Yeah.
know what you need
Yeah.
to make
So-
money.
when somebody asked me like VIX was 20, why did you enter a buy option? You could have sold today. IV is IV. What is IV? I don't know. I swear I don't know what is IV. All I know is some days options are decaying more, some day less. Decay is a reality. If I place my stop loss, then if it moves in my favor, I will make more. That's all.
Correct. Superb. Yeah, this has been one of the best conversations I've had. And
Absolutely.
Thank you so much
Yes.
for doing this.
And this couldn't be any more honest, no? This couldn't be any more candid than it gets.
It's
This is
all open.
as candid as it
This
gets.
is- yeah, and I think, I mean, if anything, from the bullet points that you put across as well, it's straight. Look, if you want to generate any alpha over your bank rate of interest, you have to learn, you have to study, you have to read these books, you have to figure out, okay, am I approaching this in the right manner? And then as far as execution is concerned, either coding it yourself or learning the code and still hiring someone to do it, it requires that dedication, that time, and that effort to make this happen. And it can be done while having a full-time job as well, because I think it comes down to your attitude at the end of the day. I mean, you can be someone who does everything, or who has and still has time, or somebody who's like, no, I just don't have the time to do this, I need like an easier way. No, it's more of a personality trait, saying that I'll be able to do it. So superb, Pawan, truly.
Yes, it was awesome is an understatement, and it was just fantastic. The conversation was just mind blowing, and I think the audience have to go through this podcast at least a couple of times to get the extract the complete juice out of it. And Pawan, really real thankful to you for coming over here and having this conversation with me and Shreyas. And looking forward to meeting you in person when we all catch up in Bangalore. And
Absolutely.
yes, thanks
We'll
for watching.
connect offline and
Yeah. So
thank you all
thanks a
so
lot,
much for watching.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Bye.